Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. Welcome to the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast, where we've agreed to terms. It's me, your man MG, Marcas Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio and LaQuan Jones. Happy League New Year's Eve, guys.
Hey!
Yeah.
Even though all the action happened yesterday, but yeah, sure.
Everything happened within like an hour of the legal tampering period starting. It was
For
like
real.
Fast and Furious. Shout out to Vin Diesel.
For family.
It started with Donna Kelsey's kitchen remodel, and it ended every player signing on Monday.
A lot of teams remodeling their kitchens via free agency is what happened. So we're going to dive into that. Obviously, that's what the show's going to be about. We're going to be talking about a lot of these signings, their fantasy value. I know. I'm certain.
I want to know more about the kitchen remodel, I guess. I don't know.
I just want to know if it's an open concept, what kind of countertops she's using, and did she get the cool cabinet doors that sort of open like gull wings or something
That's a flex. Marcus has that. Yeah. Yeah. That's a flex. Yeah, that's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And it goes up so subtle. I'm definitely going to invest in that. Come on, man. You can't flex that right now.
We're supposed to tell people that. I was just talking, man. Jeez.
Oh, man.
Jeepus. Anyway, yeah, a whole lot of stuff to dive into. Let's start. Maybe not the first thing that happened, but maybe the one thing of note. If we're going to go over what was Greg Rosenthal's top 101 free agents, the guy who was at the top of the list was Malik Willis. And I woke up on Monday morning, and the first thing I saw was that the Dolphins were going to cut ties with Tua Tagovailoa, and they were going to take a massive, massive, historic cap hit. But that's what they felt they had to do to move on from Tua. And then almost immediately thereafter, they signed Malik Willis 3 years, $67.5 million. I believe 45 of that is guaranteed. So, Florio, because you are the number one Malik Willis stan on this program, your thoughts on Malik taking his talents to South Beach?
Yeah, I was pretty confident I was going to be the number one Malik Willis stan at the network, and then Greg Rosenthal had to go and make him the best free agent available. I've been saying for a while, all I want is for him to go somewhere where he gets the full year to play, right? Like, is the unquestioned starter, and I think he clearly is here, especially with the money they gave him. I kept saying I thought it was going to be Arizona, but Miami swoops in and gets him. And for those who are like, why are you so excited for Malik Willis? He's only played 8 games in his NFL career where 60 or more % of the snaps played. In those 8 games, he averaged 40 rushing yards per game, which is equivalent to 100 passing yards. And he scored 4 rushing touchdowns. So obviously that high ceiling is there because of what he could do with his legs. But as a passer in the last 2 seasons, he led all quarterbacks in passer rating, completion percentage, EPA per dropback, and success rate. Yeah, I don't expect that over the course of a 17-game season, but there's a lot of potential here, I think, with Malik Willis. And Marcus, I know me and you were kind of talking about this, but I view him kind of similarly to how I viewed Justin Fields last year. And people were probably like, well, that worked out great. Early on, it was fun with Justin Fields. But what happened was then, he got benched and that ruined it. If we don't have to worry about that with Malik Willis, if he's going to start the full year, which I feel very confident he will if he's healthy, you have a guy that you could plug in any single week. Now, I wouldn't want him as my only quarterback on my roster. I would pair him with someone safe. But I think he has the upside of being top 7, maybe even higher, top 5, because of what he can do with his legs. And we know that is a cheat code for fantasy purposes.
I mean, that is the thing we love. The thing that we need, here's the thing. What we want is for him to run the football. What we need is for him to be just a competent passer. We don't need him to be a great passer. We just need him to be a competent passer because, that averaging 40 yards on the ground, and sure, then, we'll have games where we have more than that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
If then he's only supplementing that by throwing for like 150 yards, through the air, you're still not. So he doesn't need to be great. He just needs to be decent, which I guess sort of begs the question, LaQuan, then if we're getting fingers crossed, a decent passer, does that make you feel differently about Jalen Waddle? Because he's about the only pass catcher there that I think is of any interest.
Yeah, I mean, if he's a decent passer, then we can kind of paint a picture that Jalen Waddle should be safe as a wide receiver too. But my biggest concerns here, he can run, but are we going to get touchdowns? Because we see the same picture painted all the time with these mobile guys. 40 rushing yards per game, but okay, are we going to get some touchdowns out of that? Are we going to be able to have our pass catchers to be able to catch the ball and fall into the end zone? That's my biggest concern, because that was Justin Fields' biggest problem. It's we know the rushing upside's there, but he's not going to be scoring touchdowns. He's not going to be a decent passer. He's not going to give the wide receivers chance on the consistent basis to be putting up wide receiver 1 numbers, which we know Jalen Waddle can do. Now that Tyreek Hill's out of the way, there's no other really decent, wide receiver to compete for targets there for him. I think having an addition of Darren Waller will help Malik Willis in that touchdown department. That will help, a Jalen Waddle having opportunities in striking distance. But I'm really focusing on, I'm excited for Devon Etienne. This run game is going to be amazing with Devon Etienne and Malik Willis. I mean, good luck trying to stop either one of them. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to 6 points. I need touchdowns from Malik Willis. The small sample size we saw, there's the upside, there's the potential, there's the hope that we can have Malik Willis be the quarterback for the Dolphins that they were looking for. But at the end of the day, I need touchdowns to my pass catchers, and I need touchdowns from him as well.
I'm going to be the Malik Willis guy this year, but I want no part of his pass catchers because I think they will be inconsistent week to week. And then as for the I think the Dolphins are going to be trailing a lot, which means more throwing and more running for Malik Willis. So it's Etienne and Willis. And look, we don't know what the rest of their unit is going to look like yet, but I'll probably be out on most of them.
My fear is there's not going to be enough touchdowns that's going to satisfy both Etienne and Willis. That the Dolphins last year scored 34 total touchdowns. Total. I mean, that's when you figure rushing. Actually, weirdly, they did not have anything but rushing, receiving touchdowns. No punt return, no kick returns, no interceptions, no fumbles. So 34 total touchdowns. That is tied for 7th fewest in the NFL.
Jared Goff threw for 34 touchdowns, I think.
They might not be that good this year. They might be worse than that. So I just worry that, either Malik Willis gets a number of touchdowns and that takes away from Devon Etienne, or Devon Etienne takes those touchdowns and Willis is leaving you. So that's my only fear with that. But I do think, I think anybody who's drafting Willis is hopefully astute enough to realize that you're going to need another option.
Pair him with I would take him as a QB1, but I would be pairing him just because I think there's a lot more safe options at quarterback than upside, at least with that kind of upside. The thing I will point out, though, is Etienne had 1 goal line carry last year. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Malik Willis tush push this year.
Which is terrible for Ollie Gordon.
If I'm drafting Malik Willis, I'm probably drafting quarterbacks back to back. Either I'm getting a fringe QB1 and then Willis, or Willis and then somebody else really.
I agree.
Back to back.
Like a Justin Herbert or something like that.
Yeah, Herbo's going to be interesting too with everything going on.
Got the Great Wall of China in front of him right now.
Take your pick of these safe floor quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's true. The other part of this, though, is Tua was not unemployed for long. The Falcons came calling, and they signed him to a 1-year minimum contract, which means somebody pointed out the Dolphins are paying more. They're paying more for Falcons quarterbacks than the Falcons are at this point right now. Still waiting to see what happens with Michael Penix. If you had to guess right now, LaQuan, if, say, both of them are healthy, who is Atlanta's starting quarterback in week 1?
It's Tua. Because you don't make this move without because they don't have to rush back Penix now. Because there's still a question mark. Is Penix their guy? I mean, honestly, the gap between him and Kirk Cousins wasn't large. So if Tua comes in, you make this move to get him in. I mean, he's the healthy right now quarterback. There's no need to try to rush Penix back from this late season injury where, again, this is a serious injury and he has a history. So I think week 1, we're looking at Tua as a starter. Now, they can pull the plug on Tua at any point where Penix is now recovered and healthy. He comes in as your guy. Now, they're not strapped to either one of these quarterbacks, for a very long time because at the end of the day, this all comes down to, which I think, Florio, you should touch on, is what about Drake London? What is going to happen with Drake London this year in fantasy? Because I'm not excited whatsoever about Drake London.
Me and Marcus were talking about this a bit on a different show yesterday. I agree, but then you look at the wide receiver ones, and it's like he, as of today, he still, I feel like, belongs in that group, but it's one of those things, right? Like, you could rank someone somewhere, but I think the ultimate test is when you're on the clock, will you take him in that spot? And I would probably grab like a running back or something over Drake London, because I agree with LQ, man. I'm worried about this quarterback play. Michael Penix didn't do a lot to separate himself from Kirk Cousins last year, and then Tua looked like a backup at the end of the way. So you understand the talent, and I feel like this has been every year since Drake London has entered the NFL. Like, you understand the talent is there, but you're like, the quarterback play and this offense, do I really want to invest a second round pick in him? I will. I'm going to steal something that I saw on the internet today. We could call him Hawk Tua if we want.
No.
Oh, no.
Because he's on the bird
Heavens,
team.
no.
no.
That never, ever,
no.
no. Let that stay in 2024 or where that was originated. No, we're not going back. Absolutely not. No.
So this is what I will say to counter your concerns about.
Juan is so disappointed.
I know. This is
Why did you say that?
It's going to derail him for several minutes now.
Worse.
My pushback to the Drake London concerns, and I hear everything you guys are saying, right? And I guess you have to look at it as, yeah, he was not a wide receiver one last year, but with it being Michael Penix and a broken down Kirk Cousins, Drake London still had over 100 targets. And he only played 12 games. Let's keep that in mind too, right?
Yeah.
He only played 12 games. He still had over 100 targets. He still had over 900 yards. He still had, I think, 7 touchdowns last year.
Still a top 20 wide receiver last
year.
year.
Still a top 20 wide receiver despite missing 5 games and having a horrible quarterback play. I guess the question is this version of Tua as good, at least as good as last year's version of Kirk Cousins? And if the answer is yes, then I think you still have faith in Drake London.
I have faith in him as the talent. It's literally the quarterback play, because you have to understand, there's going to be a lot more quicker passes. There's going to be a lot of more dump balls. Like, I think Bijan has over 100 targets. 100 catches. Easily 100 catches. Like, that's where I'm going with it, where there's going to be a ton of production coming out of the backfield in terms of keeping Tua upright. And what's going to really make Drake London suffer is that yards per reception. 13 and a half last year. That's probably going to come down to 10. What we saw with him with Arthur Smith when we had Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke throwing him the ball. Like, that's going to hurt Drake London, who's in a contract year where I've been playing, the speculation game. If they move Drake London, he can make his way to LA, in the post Devontae Adams era. I'm putting that in the universe right now, by the way. But I think at the end of the day, he's going to suffer in yards. It's like the targets are obviously going to be there for him because he's the number one. But most folks on the timeline in Blue Sky were saying like, oh, well, Drake London's going to play all the slot, the versatility there. Well, they just signed 2 slot wide receivers. In Jahan Dotson and Omalai Zacchaeus. Like, that's not going to be what we saw last year. It's going to be a completely different dynamic, especially with Kevin Stefanski on the sticks now and Tommy Reese. So I think at the end of the day, we can't look at what Drake London did last year and look at the obvious red flags at the quarterback position that we kind of had to fade where Drake London possibly is going to go in these early second rounds of drafts.
I guess. I hear what you're saying. I still think they're going to figure out how to get him the ball. And Bijan's going to get
beyond 10 yards.
Targets.
Beyond 10 yards.
Ton of targets.
How is he going to possibly I'm talking to he's going to underthrow Drake London. Just let that sit in your head. Like, how is that possible to do? Which it's going to happen. Okay,
but then I guess the other question is, how many games does Tua start? Does he start 17 games? Because I don't think anybody believes that, right?
No, but how good is Penix going to be post injury? He's not going to be. He's not mobile to begin with.
That's fine. Just stand there and throw the ball.
Last year, Drake London had one game between 60 and 100 yards. It was always either over 100 or like 50 and less. And I kind of think he'll be that this year, right? Like he'll have
One
plenty
game
of
over
those spike
100.
weeks and maybe finish as a wide receiver 1, but there's going to be some headache weeks in there as well. Whereas, like, you don't get that from all of the other wide receivers.
He will not be
like
my
AJ
first
Brown.
wide receiver. Like, he will not be on my roster as my wide receiver 1. I'm cool taking him as a 2, but then I'm going to make sure I have the depth to rotate him out the weeks where I'm looking like, yeah, Tua's trash these last 3 weeks. I'm not going into week 4 thinking Drake London automatically is going to blow up against whoever they're playing, right? Like, no, I need some rotation in there.
But if he's going second round, then it's very likely he's probably going to be somebody's wide receiver too. He's wide receiver
I'm not
too.
touching him. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
no,
I'd rather have Drake London in the 3rd round then. Let's have that conversation.
Why not?
He
What
drops.
if you start wide receiver?
Think of Garrett Wilson. Think of Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson's a number 1 wide receiver too.
But listen, you think the fantasy streets were badging him as a wide receiver too? How many times, even with Zach Wilson as the quarterback, we're putting him as a wide receiver 1? Yeah, it's over now. Now that we know we're awake, but now I'm dropping Drake London in that 3rd round. Like, I can't touch him in the 2nd round. Where guys, we still have rookies. I mean, the Carnell Tates of the world. I'd rather Carnell Tate, even without thinking what team he's on right now, than a Drake London with the quarterback play, and that's just all tops.
That's that Marvin Harrison Jr. thinking. That's that Marvin Harrison Jr. thinking.
I ain't taking Carnell Tate in the 1st round, but it does depend where he lands. He could eat. He's elite, man.
Speaking of wide receiver moves that LaQuan loves, Mike Evans signing a deal with the 49ers.
I'll be back.
Signs a deal with the 49ers. 3-year deal. I would be surprised, Florio, if he sees all 3 years of that contract, just considering what his age is, coming off an injury. I don't know if he sees all 3 years of that. Which, side note to this, if he somehow plays 3 years and he goes back to his being a 1,000-yard wide receiver, obviously didn't do that last year, but if he gets back to being a 1,000-yard wide receiver and plays all 3 years, he will very likely finish as the number 3 wide receiver in NFL history in terms of total yards. He's about 29. He's about 2,900 yards away from Terrell Owens, who's in the number 3 spot.
He's kind of like the Frank Gore of receivers.
Kinda. Shout out to Frank Gore. That's funny. He's a Hall of
Famer. Because at no point were we ever like Mike Evans is the best wide receiver in the NFL, but he's just consistently great.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's
I
true,
really like the signing for you guys though, and for Mike Evans.
I don't.
Okay, putting your personal feelings aside and trying to be an objective fantasy analyst who is out there helping people, LaQuan, fulfilling your Hippocratic oath to help fantasy managers, this is a positive signing. It's Mike Evans going to a place with a good offensive coordinator, a quarterback who can deliver the football, and a ton of targets available. This is objectively, again, take your little pouty face off. This is objectively a good fantasy signing.
Our audio listeners can't see me, so I can do that all I want.
As a parent, fix your face and talk about Mike Evans.
All right, obviously this is a positive signing for him because it's a location where, again, you do have the quarterback that can get him the ball. I'm strictly thinking touchdowns when I'm thinking of Mike Evans. I mean, obviously the 49ers want to copy what the Rams did with Devontae Adams. They're looking for something similar to that, okay? They didn't bring back Kendrick Bourne because he was supposed to be that guy for them, but here we are with Mike Evans with a 3rd round badge on him where I feel comfortable taking him off the board as my wide receiver too. Because again, you have to worry about the age, the injuries that we saw last year, which is even crazier. You know, I really did think he was going to return back to Tampa, but being that the 49ers got him for $16 million, like you're telling me that Tampa couldn't match that? That's kind of looking like he wanted out. So I'm like, Mike Evans still believes he's a alpha wide receiver. He is still playing at his prime, quote unquote, but it's all a matter of he can stay healthy. So I'll keep that in my mind, taking him off the board, but I'm pretty sure we're going to transition and talking about Brock Purdy being top 5 as a quarterback in fantasy next year, by the way.
No, I don't think so. I think he's still, so. I still think he's a fringe QB1, a guy that most weeks you're comfortable starting. No, I don't think he suddenly morphs into a, look at you, you're just making up straw man arguments to try to knock down. Like you're just making up,
so who gets knocked out of the top 5?
Charlie Brown had women. No, he didn't. That's not true.
You pulled that one.
Come on, man. You're just like making up arguments
No, if I had to be honest, though, like I think the Drake Mays, the Jackson Darts, they'll get into the conversations as top 7, et cetera, et cetera. But I think Brock Purdy, he gets in that conversation of the 30, 35, maybe even 40 touchdowns with a healthy Mike Evans. Because, again, what they're looking for is somebody that can contribute the ball to an alpha wide receiver. Hello, Brock Purdy, flashing mobile abilities, sneaky athlete. And I do feel like now that we have Mike Evans in the fold with hopefully a healthy Ricky Pearsall, they're in a good sense of where they're going to be in striking distance more often than not when you have, power plant anti, Christian McCaffrey. So I think at the end of the day, we need to start looking at Brock Purdy a little bit more than a fringe QB1 where now he's gotten somebody that can get him to that conversation in terms of touchdowns.
The thing is, though, he probably won't have Kittle for much of the year. So yeah. I think it's kind of a... You
replace Kittle with a big body target in Mike Evans. I mean, who cares about Kittle?
Also come back week 15. Jennings, I kind of view it as a net neutral for Purdy.
Bro,
but I view it...
Kyle Shanahan cooked the Rams with wide receiver 4s and 5s and a backup third-string tight end. It don't matter who it is. It's a matter of the brain, who's on the sticks. That offense is going to be humming now with somebody like Mike Evans. I'm looking at Purdy in that top 5
But I was already
conversation.
kind of doing that with, Kittle and Jennings and...
Please go ahead and draft Brock Purdy as a top 5 quarterback. I will.
I won't have to because most of the thinking is where we're at right now. So it's fine that he's going to be going where Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott went last year in the double-digit rounds. I'm cool with that
because I think that's what he is.
He could finish. I don't think it's crazy to say he could finish top 5 if he runs hot touchdown wise, but you need that for him to finish top 5. Whereas I'm always going to take running quarterbacks because you don't need them to run hot touchdown wise to finish that high.
He was QB8 last year. I'm talking him moving 3 spots ahead of guys that, like a Trevor Lawrence that may not perform like how he did at the back end of the season, or Caleb Williams. He can easily sneak into that top 5 conversation because it's always a rotating door.
Josh and Lamar, right? We're taking them over Brock.
Yes.
Joe Burrow, I would still be taking over Brock Purdy.
Now, I'm a little hesitant, but yes, over Purdy.
Here's the question. Matthew Stafford or Brock Purdy? Let's just put it out there, right? Let's put it out there because Mr. Built Different, Mr. Can Do Everything.
Matthew Stafford.
Right? Mr. MVP.
Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford.
So
Stop right there.
So your top 5. So your top 5, I'm telling you right now.
Purdy at 5.
Josh
Purdy
Allen.
at 5.
Lamar Jackson. Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow. I mean, who's out?
Don't confuse the conversation. It's not who I'm taking. I'm thinking who's going to finish top 5. I will obviously take a Joe Burrow over a Brock Purdy, but I'm not going to have to pay Jaden Daniels or Joe Burrow price for a Brock Purdy who's going to go under the radar. We see this happen all the time. We were looking at Jared Goff as one of those quarterbacks, and he constantly ended up in the top 7, top 10 conversation, being that he was in the touchdown department. If the touchdowns increase and then we saw a flashy, maybe semi-mobile Brock Purdy this year, I think the rushing upside and the touchdown upside alone kind of makes that conversation a lock in at least top 7 conversation.
All right. Mission accomplished. I got LaQuan to defend Brock Purdy on the show. We're going to clip this and make this a social video. So back here as we continue to go through free agent moves, also keeping an eye out for anything that breaks. As we are recording the show, nothing major has really happened so far since we started recording this, so we'll see. Other really interesting signings to me. The Saints, they are signing Travis Etienne. And we've said on this show before that I think we like Travis Etienne more than the Jaguars like Travis Etienne. LaQuan, you are sort of our Saints guy now because,
weirdly, you're the second person to say that.
I mean, but it's kind of what's happened, right? You're definitely higher on Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck. I'm watching video here of Trevor Lawrence throwing passes to Travis Etienne. Tyler Shuck, you were higher on. You took Chris Olave out of the satchel of discontent.
Yes. So for good.
So Travis Etienne going to New Orleans, I think this is a big deal. I think we're seeing sort of a rebirth of that Alvin Kamara type role and type production that we got earlier in Kamara's career.
For sure. And I like this move by the Saints because they got somebody who's been, I would say, reliable. And we've seen Travis Etienne have one of his best seasons last year. And on an efficiency, standpoint, he had the second most yards per attempt versus stacked boxes. Now going to the Saints, this is a team that runs shotgun out the wazoo, top 3 in the league, where they're going to be facing lighter boxes as well. So I think he brings a dynamic to the passing game that we obviously see that he has the opportunity to break off some of these big runs. And honestly, when you're looking at the Saints offense right now, it doesn't look sexy. It doesn't look like, it's one of the offenses you want to invest heavy in. But that only makes the case for Travis Etienne to be drafted at a value. Because again, when you think of the Saints and you're on the draft, we're who else is it other than Chris Olave? I'm in on Chris Olave as one of my top 5 wide receivers that we did in a mock about a month ago and some change. And I think Tyler Shuck, he's going to ascend into QB1 conversation some weeks where I feel like he has the semi-mobility. He has the deep threat in Chris Olave and whoever else they add. But now having an established run game with Travis Etienne, this makes this offense a lot more interesting to invest in fantasy at a value.
Did you say Chris Olave is a top 5 wide receiver?
Yes, top 5 fantasy wide receiver. He said he's coming for the number 1 spot straight out of his mouth out of the conversation I had with him in New Orleans 2 weeks ago. So
Breaking news, area man thinks he's going to have good year. What?
I was going to say, I want to, be a millionaire, but
listen, I think Chris Olave last year, at least with the quarterback chain, he handled that perfectly. He's being utilized deep downfield. He had the most targets of 20 plus yards last year among all wide receivers.
Should we play the game?
What game?
Who gets kicked out of the top 5?
Who's bumped out of your top 5?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Obviously, Puka is in there. I'm not even going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, I'm guessing, is still in there for you.
Yes.
JSN?
No.
CeeDee Lamb?
Yes, but not
so
at
that's 3.
So at 4,
Amon
Ra?
Amon Ra.
I'm about to say Amon Ra, CD, 5, Chris Olave.
If Kyler Murray goes to Minnesota, Justin Jefferson. Because you were the one who said if Kyler goes there, JJ's a first round pick again.
So I would say this. I can swap Olave out of that 5 spot. He'll finish 6 at the rankings, but I think that will have to come down to Kyler going to Minnesota, which isn't a lock right now at the current time we're recording. I think Chris Olave occupies that 5th spot right there, and then Justin Jefferson and whoever else.
If JSN played for, say, the Bucks, would he still be in there?
Yo, come on, man. I'm not on a JSN hate campaign. He was one of the best wide receivers last year. I just feel as though at the end of the day, we have to take an account of the obvious changes. They don't have a running back right now. They lost their best piece of that offense in Clint Kubiak. Sam Darnold has established himself as a QB1, but with these changes, we have to take an account with the first-time play caller that they have over there in Florio. So I think at the end of the day, not what we saw last year is exactly going to be same as this year in transition to basically him getting into the top 5 conversation of wide receivers. No, not doing it.
I don't know. All those things to me signal more targets for JSN. They don't have a running back. They
How
still
valuable are those targets?
They bring back Rashid Shaheed, which I was a free agent signing, which 3 years, $51 million
for a special teamer.
A punt returner. It seems a little crazy. I don't know. The Rams could use a punt returner. Just saying.
We have one. Okay, we believe in Xavier Smith. All right, he's been forgiven. Okay,
cool. But all these things seem to me to signal hey man, we're gonna have to lean on JSN even more, at least in the short term.
How valuable are these targets? It's a different person on the sticks this year.
The one pushback I would have is I don't think Seattle everything is gonna break as right as it did for them.
No.
Which in one quarter you could be JSN's not gonna be as efficient, but it also could mean they're gonna have to throw more because he was the only player ever to do what he did on that few amount of pass attempts.
Maybe they're not quite as schemed up in quality as what he was getting with Clint Kubiak there. He had 163 targets. I don't care how quality they are. You're giving me 163 targets, and I'm as talented as that guy is. I'm gonna do something with him. It's all those years right? We made fun of Michael Thomas for being slant boy, but that dude was getting 170 targets a year.
Don't say that. He's listening. He heard you.
Right?
He's gonna hit you on Twitter.
You know what? I'm not on Twitter anymore. He can tweet away. I'm never going to see it. But he was getting like 170 targets a year. Like, I don't care if you're slant boy or not. You get that many targets, you're going to do something.
They had the same person on the sticks, though, doing that. So there was no change in dynamic of those 170 targets. But do we think JSN is going to see 160 targets again this year?
I don't see why not. What has changed in terms of personnel? They're not going to start feeding Cooper Kupp.
The personnel. I mean, they could attack the draft. They can, get Rashid Shaheed more involved as a actual full-time wide receiver.
Sure. And when that starts to happen, we'll reevaluate. But as of where I'm sitting right now, another 160 targets feels really doable.
Maybe. I'm not going to put it off the table. Maybe, but he's not in my top 5.
All right. What flavor Haterade you drinking there?
Come on.
More wide receiver news. Alec Pierce is staying in Indianapolis, staying with the Colts, 4 years, $114 million. You guys are both way higher on Alec Pierce than I am. I'm curious whether or not he does one thing and he does that one thing really well. But for $114 million,
that was Riley Leonard. Leonard on that throw. Come on, baby, let's go.
It was also underthrown.
Look, that's a starter. That's Derek Stingley. Riley Leonard. Oh, see, now we cut the clip as soon as Riley Leonard started cooking. All right. Sorry.
The ball was underthrown. And
Kyrie is a Texans fan, so.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but you're a Texans fan producing right now in the producer chair. But Florio, I think you're probably the chief Alec Pierce guy amongst the three of us. With him in, and now with Michael Pittman also gone because he was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, can Alec Pierce be a bona fide wide receiver 1?
I don't want to put him in that range just yet, but I think he could be a wide receiver 2 who finishes a lot of weeks as a wide receiver 1. We got to see Alec Pierce more utilized at times last year in the intermediate portion of the field. But he was still largely running a lot. Like he's led the NFL, I believe, in air yards per target in each of the last 2 years. He was first in yards on deep targets in 2024, fourth last year. But when you look at like what he was doing in the intermediate portion, he did lead the Colts by far in yards in that section of those targets. So I think there's more volume potentially here for him with Michael Pittman Jr. gone. I think he will play the X a lot. But given that, there's also there's going to be more defensive attention on him. I think the floor gets a little bit safer than it was because it was so boom or bust for years with Alec Pierce. But the ceiling remains sky high. So I haven't done, especially since yesterday, I haven't done rankings. But I'm sitting here today thinking he's probably going to be more of a 2, maybe even like a high end 3, like in that 24, 25 range, something like that. I'm off base here. Maybe other people are pushing him way up, but it's not even Alec Pierce for me. It's more like I still have some concerns about Daniel Jones. And I know he played well for a stretch last year, but we've seen him run hot before. And then it kind of comes crashing down. So I wouldn't want to invest a wide receiver 1 tag on him. But if he went to someone, like the Bills or 49ers, maybe I'd be feeling a little bit different. But I do think he's a very good 2.
All right. Since we were kind of doing this whole thing today, LaQuan, Alec Pierce, or Drake London.
Oh, I mean, I think they're going to be way, way kind of off of where the price will be for those guys. I'm thinking more so that, Alec Pierce, the volume's going to be there for him. But again, that floor becomes a little bit safer. But again, the quarterback position is going to be the question mark for everybody going into draft. So I don't think he even gets that high in price as where Drake London would probably go. But I think better pricing him is who do you take off the board first? DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman, or Alec Pierce? I kind of look, that's where that range of wide receivers he'll be going. Maybe even a Tetairoa McMillan. I think that's where we need to really eye him because I don't want to push him to the heights of where the T. Higgins, the Drake Londons of the world go because that's not the case, right? He's a talented wide receiver that has the ability to stretch the field and make the big plays. But now they're going to be asking him to be a full-time wide receiver with the question mark at the quarterback position in Daniel Jones. And I will say this, don't be surprised in camp if Riley Leonard's lighting it up and they tell Daniel Jones, take your time. Take your time to come back.
They're not doing that.
I'm looking at
They're not doing
the
that.
early Fantasy Pros consensus rankings, and like Tetero McMillan is 14, Higgins is 15, Garrett Wilson is 16. I'm like, yeah, I could push Alec Pierce up as high. I think I would have T. Higgins at 14, and then I could Alec Pierce like as high as 15. Like, I don't want to push him much higher than that, though.
No, we can't, though. We can't. Like, I think the volume is going to be the seller. Like, oh, my God, now that Michael Pittman's out of the way. Like, there's only really Tyler Warren and Josh Downs, and who knows if they bring anybody through the draft. Free agency is underway now. Like, who knows what could possibly happen, but they're paying him as the alpha wide receiver, and we have yet to see that. You know what I mean? So, like, I feel like we're going to be chasing those high ceiling weeks with more volume, but again, the quarterback positions where the biggest question mark is at right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, they tagged Daniel Jones for a reason. He's going to be their guy. They want to get him back in there, especially in a division that is winnable, right? They were, what were they, 8-1 last year to start of the season? I know that, I know, Florio, you believed in their fraudulence the whole time, but fact remains, they were very much in control of the AFC South at one point. And if things didn't just go sideways, then, they're probably in the playoffs. So I think they went and got Daniel Jones or brought him back for a reason. He's going to be their guy in the hopes that they can, they're 7-1, sorry. And then they finished at 8-9. Brutal is what that was.
I know it happened, but hearing how drastic it was is still shocking.
Yeah. But LaQuan, you did mention, obviously, the conundrum for fantasy folks about DK Metcalf versus Michael Pittman now in Pittsburgh. Florio, I told you yesterday that I don't think the ceiling is super high, but I do think Michael Pittman is going to outperform his ADP just playing in that offense with this version of Aaron Rodgers, being able to sort of inhabit that short to intermediate part of the field, run a lot of those sort of in-breaking routes, those crossers. It just feels like he's tailor-made to sort of eat with Aaron Rodgers, even if the Steelers are still going to be, 7-10, 8-9, 9-8, and then get knocked out in the first round, even if that's going to happen again this year.
I feel pretty confident that Pittman will outperform probably where I rank him, because I don't rank based on where I think people will finish. I rank based on like how I would be targeting them and how I would draft them. And Pittman is like, to me, it feels like all floor. And I typically am someone who likes to chase upside more. But yeah, I think Pittman will be very solid. But my thing is, and I kind of told you this yesterday, like, I don't really want to do any part of this Steelers offense. So admitted that like he will finish higher than I'm probably willing to take him. I'm still probably not going to be aggressively going after him, or DK is going to have a higher price tag. So if you ask me those two in a vacuum, I'll probably take Michael Pittman Jr. because I think he'll be much cheaper, but I just don't really like either of them.
Does that existential Steelers dread for you guys extend to Rico Dowdle, who also signed for 2 years?
Oh, that's going to be the most annoying conversation all summer long. Jalen Warren or Rico Dowdle. And
yeah,
I'm good.
I've been burned the last couple of years by Jalen Warren. Like I'm out. I've been burned.
It's not going to happen. Like everybody wants him to be this workhorse RB1. It's not going to happen. That we saw Kenneth Gainwell do the damage he did in the limited opportunities, it's not going to happen. Like Rico Dowdle is a bigger threat to me than Kenneth Gainwell was. And on top of that, Mike McCarthy never wanted him to leave Dallas. So this is his guy. This is a signing of like,
that's a good point.
I believe in Rico. I know Rico. I know what he has the ability to do. So there may be more often than not games where that split is going to be like eating each other alive. It's just going to be a wash.
I think it could look like the opposite of last year, where Rico is the early downs guy instead of Warren, and then we're getting Warren a lot more in the passing game. Kind of how it was with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Yeah. But like, if you look at Rico Dowdle's numbers from last year, he was exactly who he was in prior years. He just did it all in 2 games. But over the course of 17 games, he was exactly the same guy. But that is a very good, I didn't think of that. The Mike McCarthy connection there. That's a very good point.
That is a good point, for sure. Yeah, the Steelers just feel like one of those things where you draft a Steeler and you're kind of like,
at no point are you going to enjoy it, you know?
Right.
But if I had to choose which wide receiver, I think I would go DK, right? Just based on you're looking for that high ceiling.
Do you want high ceilings but volatility, or do you want maybe a lower ceiling but a more stable floor? Because if you want the stable floor but the lower ceiling, Pittman.
Where am I drafting these guys? Because are they my 2? Are they my 3? Like,
I think they're probably your 3.
I'm going to rank DK higher, but I think he's going to get drafted at least a few rounds, like a couple rounds, maybe even more.
Probably, 2 rounds probably before Pittman. Because with Pittman, like, I feel like if it is Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball, now Aaron Rodgers has a second, I guess would say, a reliable target where, MG's been on his soapbox saying that, we need to respect Pittman as a wide receiver. Like, he's good.
Yeah, man. There's been too much trashing of USC wide receivers on this show. We started with Drake London. Now it's Michael Pittman. At least we got a little bit of Amon-Ra love somewhere along the way. Now you're doing bunny ears. This whole thing. I'm shutting down the studio. I'm walking out of here. All right.
You got to go get some balloons.
Listen, walk uptown and get me some milk. Like, what are we doing here? Like, let's go.
I respect Michael Pittman. I think he brings more to the table than folks are expecting, but I don't know if I'm in on him. Like, I don't feel good about drafting. Like, I'll feel a little bit better with DK because I think the more explosive plays and the high ceilings that he brings to the table is kind of outweighing the safe floor that Pittman brings.
Looking at Fantasy Pros rankings, I'll probably have DK somewhere in the 30s at wide receiver and Pittman probably in the 40s.
Yeah, I think they're both wide receiver 3s. And I think it's just a matter of, what you're aiming for with your roster building. And that will determine which Steelers wide receiver you want. I think that's it. Surprised it took us this long to get to this one, but Super Bowl 60 MVP Kenneth Walker III is no longer in Seattle. No longer in Seattle. He is in Kansas City. So, Florio, is this finally the running back we have wanted so badly in an Andy Reid offense? We've been begging for this for as long as Patrick Mahomes has been the starter. Do we finally have it now?
I think so. This was, I know I wasn't alone here, but this was my dream fit for both sides because I think Kenneth Walker potentially, finally, right, gets the chance to come in and be a every down guy, depending on what the moves they still make. But as of today, him and Brashard Smith are the only running backs on the roster. And they gave Kenneth Walker a lot of money, right? Like, this isn't a small deal by any stretch. So I think they're viewing it as we finally have that home run hitter out of the backfield, someone that could help open things up in the passing game, because for years, no one had to worry about the Chiefs running backs. Like, they were like, all right, you're going to bring Kareem Hunt in. We know you're just going to do a short yard run. You're going to bring Pacheco in. We're going to give you a light box and dare him to beat us. But Kenneth Walker has that explosiveness. And I've always felt like while he's not the best in the passing game, especially pass blocking wise, like, I still think he is so explosive that you want to generate touches for him as a receiver. And Seattle really didn't do that at a high rate, which always kind of frustrated me. So I think Andy Reid, a very creative guy who loves screen passes and design touches, could mean great things for Kenneth Walker. I especially like it early on when I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to be running whenever he is back, whether that's week 1 or early in the season. I don't think they're going to let him run. So I think we're going to get more Kenneth Walker running. And my only fear is I'm very fearful that they bring in Kareem Hunt and use him as the goal line back. And he's kind of like a Zach Charbonnet thorn in the side of Kenneth Walker. But I do think Walker, remember how frustrating it was for him last year? Like, I know everyone just remembers the Super Bowl run, but in the regular season, he was almost unusable for a large stretch. I think he's back to being an RB2 that has weekly RB1 upside.
You said Kareem Hunt, and my stomach started rumbling.
That's what's most likely going to happen, though.
I'm not saying you're wrong. It just made my tummy hurt a little bit.
There's a couple things we need to consider, though, right? Like, I know the money is a big check. I know it's like he's our guy, right? This is the best running back they've had in a very, very long time. Eric Bieniemy's back on the sticks as well, so his influence may be, with the running backs, but it's worth noting that the injury history is there. They understand that, right? They don't want to run him down to the ground. More games are going to be played. Like you said, Brashard Smith there. Like, if they want to get somebody involved in the passing game, he's your guy. And we've seen Eric Bieniemy activate a Jarrett McKinnon where he was very fantasy relevant, right? Like, you see kind of the habits and tendencies of this backfield with him in the building. And, like, I don't know if we see, like, the Kenneth Walker with over 230, rushing attempts, right? And, like, I don't know if we see a Kenneth Walker really being involved in the passing game as much as we want him to, when they have the tools there in a Brashard Smith, and if they bring back Kareem Hunt and he gets Zach Charbonnet, I think Kenneth Walker may be probably the most overdrafted running back this summer, because I feel like at the end of the day, like, we haven't seen an Eric Bieniemy running back top 181 rushing attempts, right? We've had one fantasy relevant RB1, that we could put a strap on Kareem Hunt when Eric Bieniemy was there, with very little competition in that backfield. But I think there is certain pieces there that kind of indicate if they bring back Kareem Hunt and they have Brashard Smith, he may be limited in PPR formats. You know what I mean? You're going to be banking on that home run hit every single down.
I think we could see Kenneth Walker get to over 200 carries, right? I think he can knock on the door of 230. My question is whether or not he gets to work in the passing game. That's the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about.
I do think as a community, we overrate Brashard Smith, though.
Yes.
Hey man,
Yes.
he was a wide receiver. He can get, like, I think that's all.
He's explosive though. Put him in the design. Come on,
that's
man.
what Kenneth Walker is too. And the thing about, like, they never had it was Clyde Edwards. I think that was more about personnel.
Yeah, I'm looking at it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire who just never quite panned out. I think that's why you see the cap on carries with some of these guys. Also, are we still buying into this fantasy that whoever the offensive coordinator has is anything more than a middleman? I mean, right?
There's influence, because you could see it when Matt Nagy took over. That's when we saw a Chiefs running back get over 200 carries in Isaiah Pacheco. And Pacheco that year was getting involved in the passing game. That was the most catches he had as soon as Matt Nagy took over, because Matt Nagy has the tendencies to get his running backs the ball in their hands in open space. Now
I don't think they realized
different.
They quickly realized that, yeah, man, you catching the football is just not a thing we need.
They gave him opportunity, though.
They're like, hey,
they gave him opportunity.
Like, yeah, this is not working out.
That year with Pacheco was the only year, again, that I think they were comfortable using one back that way. Like, I don't think they ever were there with CEH. And then once Pacheco got hurt, they never got back to that with him.
No.
So, yeah, I'm sort of glad that we as a group have not gotten, like, over the moon about it. We're like, oh, this is interesting. I think this can be good. It wasn't, remember how fired up we all were when they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We're like, this is it. And then, like, it just never really worked out.
No,
and,
I got receipts. I was not excited about it.
Okay.
No.
Right. I don't think I knew you then, so I can't speak.
We did. We knew each other.
Did we?
I think. No, I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea. But I do know that I don't think we've had a really, truly huge running back season from a Chiefs back probably since rookie Kareem Hunt. I mean, I think that might be the last time that we got, like, a really, truly huge fantasy running back season. The Titans bringing in Wan'Dale Robinson. So
Wowzers.
he reunites with Brian Dable down there in Tennessee. I'm really excited about this one. I again, you know how I feel about the Titans wide receivers. There are a couple of guys who outperformed, but I think they are very close to their ceilings in terms of what they can provide. And I'm not sitting here telling you that Wan'Dale Robinson is this incredible game changer. Like, he's not going to be your fantasy wide receiver 1. He's going to be, probably a wide receiver 3. But man, I do think LaQuan, he's got a lot of upside down there in an offense that just needs somebody who can be a playmaker. And he's got a coach who knows what his strengths and weaknesses are. I think this is a really sneaky good signing for fantasy.
No, it's a good signing. It's not a surprising signing. Like, we kind of like put the pieces together before free agency even started. Like, it kind of just made the most sense. But I saw a tweet that was pretty funny, though. It was like, yeah, let's sign the guys that got me fired. Daniel Bellinger literally 20 minutes after that.
Because they signed a bunch of defensive players from the Giants, too.
I was dying when I saw that. But I really think this is a good signing, though, for Cam Ward. Because, again, the last 2 seasons, all we saw from Wan'Dale Robinson was production, right? And like we see that he can play. We see he could be utilized more than just like a guy close to the line of scrimmage. He can really stretch the field and get behind defenders and be a big playmaker. I think this is great for somebody like Cam Ward that was like yearning for that, right? He needed that, right? Like, again, DK, Alec Pierce, these are great pieces. They're great pieces to the story, contributors to the offense. But I think Wan'Dale brings that security blanket. Like how I'm looking at Khalil Shakir this year in drafts where he falls down to a wide receiver 3 or 4. That's where we can kind of draft Wan'Dale, where he becomes a bye week filler to be a flex, or if you're having injuries, like a guy that you could just rely on that at least get you 10 fantasy points.
No, I think that's fair, but I think he's going to be the guy that, you're going to take him in the late rounds, and then week 6 or 7, you'd be like, I feel pretty good about that. I think I did a good thing there.
Getting targets.
I think that's how it's going to work out. Again, Bo, he was also a guy.
Add in the draft though too.
I think they will. I think they have to. Like, I don't think they can do this one with him alone. But he was one of those guys who sort of radicalized me against full point PPR.
What are they doing with Calvin Ridley? Like, is that understood? Like, what's going on?
No, man.
He's still hurt, right? Like
that's the biggest question mark. Because I think he's still a piece, right? Like, he could still play. He just didn't look great last year. Getting, the chemistry with Cam Ward. Like, I don't know.
That's wild. He had 120. That's not right. I was like, there's no way he had 120 targets. No.
120 yards.
There's zero chance he had that many targets last year. Yeah, 36 targets that day. I was looking at the wrong season. Like that
not
doesn't look right
it.
at all. Yeah, I don't know, but I think they're gonna have to add somebody in the draft. I don't think they can do this with Wan'Dale and Io Manor and DK. I don't think it's gonna happen. Isaiah Likely signs a 3-year, $40 million deal with the New York Football Giants. Florio, I kept trying to make Theo Johnson a thing in sleepers every couple of weeks, especially at the end of the season when we're just hurting for tight ends. Do we finally get the Isaiah Likely breakout season this year in New York?
I think so, because on one hand, he has a lot of familiarity with the head coach, and I think that clearly influenced him. I also imagine they probably told him you're going to be a big part of this, because Likely wasn't going to sign somewhere where, in my opinion at least, where they were like, you're going to be used how you were in Baltimore. I think they were like, we see big jumps for you here, and I think as of today, right, a lot could change. There's still the rest of free agency. There's still the draft. But as of today, I think he would come in as the number 2 target for the Giants behind only Malik Neighbors, maybe Cam Scatterboo, depending on that. But non-running back pass catchers, I think he's number 2. And I know it's been very up or down with him in Baltimore. I think that was partly due to personnel, having Mark Andrews be out there. The Ravens still are a run-first team pretty heavily. So I think that... And the Ravens often are just whooping teams, so you don't have to throw a ton. I think all of that kind of led into the inconsistencies for Isaiah Likely, but the highs were very high, and I really liked the flashes that we saw out of him. And what I like even more is, unlike not all tight ends can stretch the field, Isaiah Likely is fast enough and good enough downfield where he can be a field stretcher at that position. So I think he's a tight end 1. I'm probably going to rank him as such. I don't think he'll be drafted as that. I could see him being as a tight end 2. But of all the moves yesterday, this was one of the ones that got me pretty excited.
Yeah, I mean, goes to a place. He obviously has familiarity with the head coach. John Harbaugh being there in New York, so he knows the head coach. So I like this a lot. I might be willing to take a chance on him as kind of a fringe tight end 1, just because of the situation and the target opportunity there in New York.
Yeah.
I don't think it's terrible there. I don't know if I've said this stuff. I don't think I'm in on Jackson Dart at cost. I know you guys love him. I have concerns. I just worry. And not even just about him being a kamikaze quarterback, because that definitely concerns me too. But I don't know. I don't know if he can sustain. I'm not sure. I think the asking price on him is going to be way more than I'm willing to pay this year. That's all. Yeah.
I think he comes in that 6 through 12 range for me. I have to sit down and do rankings, but I think that's where he's going to.
You don't believe in Matt Nagy? Jersey's finest? I mean, why not?
No, that's not helping sell me on this whole thing at all. At Let's see. Kenneth Gainwell, 2 years, $14 million with the Bucks. LaQuan, I'm guessing he's just the new Rashad White, right?
Yeah, but better. I think you get a little bit more on the ground from.
Do we want that though? Like, we all love Bucky Irving. Do we want better?
We don't want Bucky Irving as a workhorse. Okay, we don't want him to be out there with the 260, touches. Like, we kind of want him to be used like his rookie year to be efficient, right? Less than 50% of the snaps. Because he would be injured like we've seen these last 2 seasons. Like, he gets banged up. The bumps and bruises will catch up. I mean, he battled multiple injuries, a foot and shoulder injury last year, I believe. So I feel like having Gainwell there is a need for the 1-2 punch. There's a need to keep Bucky Irving healthy, for 17 games and beyond. Like, right? Like, I think at the end of the day, Gainwell comes in with just as much as fantasy relevance as a Rashad White last year, but with a little extra boost in where I think he's a better runner. I think he's better in the passing game than a Rashad White right now. Like, I think this is a move that I think Gainwell can really be one of those late round running backs that you might find yourself starting as a flex one week.
I think he's a thorn in the side of Bucky.
Yeah.
But I am going to push back. I hate the injury prone narratives, and I do not think Bucky deserves it at all.
Tiny frame. Can't handle Derrick Henry workload that everybody wants him to have. I mean,
All right, well,
at the end of the day,
I'm not saying
that's the
Derrick
comparison.
Henry,
That's the comparison.
but
That's
when
just
you're
not fair to
drafting him
anybody.
at RB9, RB8, which he was last year, which I stood on a hill by myself being stabbed to death by the entire fantasy, echo chamber.
But I don't think I don't just because he got banged up once. I don't think it's they were 2 completely separate injuries.
3 times. Yeah, I mean 2 separate years.
He played 17
No,
games
he
as a
played
rookie.
17 games
He played 17 games
as
as
a
a
rookie and
rookie.
then 10 games last year.
And last year, that
Hear
was
me
it.
though. He got banged up his rookie year the moment he got full
Football's a
workload.
violent game. Everyone gets banged up.
Exactly, right? I understand injuries are there, but I'm saying that the system for the 1-2 punch is needed to keep him upright. For any of these running backs out there of his frame and size, right? Like, we're getting more games. They want to have these running backs play more than 17 games. Like, it's just a need of why they signed Kenneth Gainwell, and I think he is a huge
every
thorn.
team wants a RB2, and they don't have Sean Tucker either anymore. So like they needed a running
Which is
back
wild.
there, and
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that.
they obviously want a 2 running back system like most teams, but I hate injury prone, especially when it's just like, oh, this guy missed a couple of games once. Like I think it gets so just hyped up, and because guys are injury prone until they're not, right? Like, oh, no one is suddenly saying Christian McCaffrey's still injury prone because he stayed healthy. Like, it's just we're always chasing past results and trying to make sense of them in our brain.
I see you fixing your lips to say it. Just say it out loud.
Nope, I'm good.
I see you fixing your lips to say it.
I'll text you.
You don't have to because I know what it's going to be. All right, last couple before we lock this thing down for the day. I mentioned Rashid Shaheed, 3 years, $51 million. He's staying in Seattle. Jalen Naylor is going to 3 years, $35 million with the Raiders. Tyler Algier, 2 years, $12.25 million with the Cardinals. Isaiah Pacheco going to the Lions. LaQuan, any of those move the needle for you?
Tyler Algier was kind of odd because they reconstructed James Conner's contract, and I think, it's RIP season for Trey Benson, but does Tyler Algier step into this standalone, RB1 opportunities? I don't know. Like, it's one of the situations that I was kind of disappointed that he went to the Cardinals after them reconstructing James Conner.
Any of those, do anything for you, Florio?
It's also Algier, but I kind of took it as that says more about Connor. And that was my read on it, just because I think Algier is going to come in and be the early down back, be the power back for them. Like, it's not a small investment they made. It's not a huge one either. So, I my fear is that it's an all-out committee with Connor, Algier, and Trey Benson. I think it'll be one we have to keep a close eye on throughout the summer. But when I saw that, I was like, he's got much more of a chance here than he ever did in Atlanta. And I think he will be the early down back as of today.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still I don't know. It's going to be a committee situation for sure. I think Connor's the lead. They did rework his contract to keep him there in Arizona. But I think with a little bit of age, a little bit of just the accumulation of injuries for James Conner, I think they definitely needed some insurance there. And so Tyler Algier gets in there. So now though, because we've got no more Algier in Atlanta, we've got Isaiah Pacheco in Detroit. If you guys are going Bijan versus Jahmyr Gibbs at the top of the draft, where are you guys going now?
I flip a coin. I still stand on that. I want them both.
Yeah. If I have like the number one pick twice, I'll take each of one once. But if I only had it one time and you were like, you need to give me an answer, I'm going to go Gibbs still as of today just because I think their offense is better.
I think I'm going to go Bijan because, one, there is no Algier, but also,
100 catches.
100 catches. That's it. I think that's it. But
that's the selling point.
But again, if I don't get Bijan and I have to, I have to draft Jahmyr Gibbs. Like I'm not broken.
I love the 102 spot. Like it doesn't matter.
Great spot to be in because the decision is basically made for you. So that's all you got to do there. So,
and then Puka at 3.
Puka at 3.
Yes. That's not even a joke. Yes.
No,
I don't think that's. Oh, we got some news. Wait,
what?
A trade. It's a trade. The Jets are trading for Geno Smith. So Geno's going back to the Jets.
Back home. Back where it all began, baby.
Back where it all began.
Geno Smith, the Jets starting quarterback.
Does this
once
mean
again.
that Geno Smith is your starting quarterback for the Jetropolitans in week 1?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't think they take a quarterback at the second pick.
No.
So, I mean, look, their other option was Carson Wentz. So I think the Jets, in the most Jet way possible, knocked it out of the park here. Like, I think they got them. They wanted Kyler. They knew they weren't getting Kyler. They're like, their best bet now is going back where it all began.
Wow.
There it is.
This is going to be a hilarious season.
Are you taking any Jets? I want no part of the Jets.
No.
What?
I'm taking Brees.
It depends where Brees Hall falls to. He's the only one that I would consider.
I think Brees falls in that 3rd round because everybody's scared.
Maybe. Even that, though, I don't know. But we'll see.
I'd probably let someone else.
Man.
I just
all right.
Do it.
More breaking news. Everything happening right as we're about to shut everything down. But the New England Patriots are signing Romeo Doubs to a 3-year, $60 million deal. Florio, you have been wanting the Patriots to get a wide receiver, somebody to help out Drake May. Does this satisfy your wishes?
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they're still not done. Maybe address the position again in the draft. I know it's a deep class, but I thought Romeo Doubs, look, take Mike Evans out. He was kind of in a different class. Alec Pierce was going to be the number 1 after that. I thought Doubs was, for me, probably number 2 right behind him, like over like Shaheed and some of those other guys, because I think he's shown a lot of flashes with the Packers. Like he could be an X. He's a really good run blocker. You never have to take, like when they did all those wide receiver rotations, he wasn't coming off the field for a reason, but they always had a crowded wide receiver room. They always ran the ball at a heavy rate. So his stats weren't eye-popping, but he could do a little bit of everything. He could be a chain mover. He could stretch the field a bit. He could be utilized in the red zone. And I think it's possible we get more downfield usage with him because Drake May was so efficient throwing the deep ball last year that I think with volume and the opportunity of volume, right? Like more downfield targets and stuff, more in the red zone usage, Romeo Doubs could be a surprising fantasy player this year.
So, I mean, Stephon Diggs is gone. There are other wide receivers, Mac Hollins, Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas. I mean, LaQuan Doubs is easily the wide receiver 1 in this room now, right?
Easily. Yeah, he gets to be the one that he believes that he is. And at the end of the day, I feel like Drake May gets I would say a huge piece in free agency because I was wondering like what they were going to do. Like I didn't want them to hit the draft and then bring in another young guy prospect come in and then act as the wide receiver one, like Romeo Doubs comes in as a clear plug and play for Drake May. All those deep shots that we've seen from Mac Hollins and Kayshon Boutte, you could sprinkle that on Doubs. And when you talk about a red zone threat, that's really pretty much that we've seen from, Romeo Doubs in that rotation of that wide receiver room. Like he's always been the guy they look to score those type of touchdowns. Like you can run a fade, you can really put him in the slot and get him the ball quickly. I think that he brings the versatility that the Patriots are looking for. And honestly, I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see this. I think they can find a real good use for him. And not only does this potentially boost Dobbs' value, maybe even means a little bit more for Drake May. I don't know. I don't know if Drake May can get better fantasy wise than he was.
That schedule's still going to be tough. It ain't going to be the cakewalk they had this last season.
Definitely a thing to keep in mind when you're talking about Drake May. But he finished as the QB2 last year. I still think regardless, you're going to be drafting him as a top 3, top 5 fantasy quarterback. So I don't think that changes. But a lot more reasons to be optimistic about the New England Patriots offense in 2026. All right, well, we'll be back with you later in the week. I'm sure there will be more things to keep an eye on. So we will update any news that has happened in terms of free agency when we get back to you on Thursday. But in the meantime, that'll do it for this edition of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Stay happy, safe, and healthy. Do good and live well. Enjoy your free agency frenzy, everybody, and we will talk to you again on Thursday.